Welcome, I'm an unsung ultra, and today we're going to talk about the canceled game Star Fox 2. Star Fox 2 was originally going to be released for the Super Nintendo in 1995, but due to the N64 coming out just a year later, it was cancelled but nearly complete. 3D games is becoming more popular, so it didn't really see the life of day, coming late to the Super Nintendo console. The funny thing about this is it was released for the Super Nintendo in 1995 up to September, and then it wasn't until 1999 that we got a source code, two source codes of the game with two different builds. It was also released in September. And then we got the game in 2017, going to be for the SNES Classic, which is also it's going to be 2017 September. I just found that ironic. So what is Star Fox 2 and how is it different? Well, in this game, it branches off in different paths. The first one did branch off in different paths at the beginning, but this one you choose where you want to select, and it also branches off in paths more than that. You get to choose where you want to go. The reason why this game is different from all the others is because you could choose wherever you want to go. You're not bound to go in a certain path, per se. And depending on your playthrough, it was randomized. Certain planets will be differently attacked. The missiles would shoot in different areas. You have to protect Corneria from the missiles that Andros is striking. You get to pick between 6 different characters. You get to pick Fox, Falco, Pepe, Slippy, Miu, and Faye. And you also get to pick a second buddy with you on your journey. During your journey, you can swap out for another character if you like. You would take on most different battles between Andros' Elite Squad, Star Wolf. You would take on the missiles that was going after Corneria, and other boss battles, such as the ships and the other spaces you go between. In this game, you also have to take on Andros' battleships that he had. He had 2 of them in this game you have to take on. Whenever you go in a different area, you would fight Star Wolf separately. You didn't fight them all together like you do in the other games. The ships you would have to take down was pretty difficult because you would have to go through a series of switches and panels you would have to push. There was also a feature you can use called the Walker. It's where you transform your ship into the Walker and it would move around. While you was battling, Corneria would get striked by anything that was coming at it, such as other enemy crafts and the missiles that was launched at it, and the ships can also go towards it. So you have a time to go through it. You have a score as well. Your score is based on how many enemies you take down and how fast you can do it. The bases you had to take down was different depending on the playthrough you had and what planet it was located on. You would either have to land on a switch or activate a switch by shooting, or the bases around it has protection and you have to take them down. But each planet had different enemies you would have to encounter and face, and different ways of taking down the base that was on the planet. Even though that Star Fox 2 was vastly different from Star Fox 1, they did have a lot of similarities. Like how the Super FX chip was also used for this. This is really great for making the 3D rendering it did, because it was pretty revolutionary for its time. Only a few other games did this before Star Fox did. You know, there was also a Star Fox 2 commercial to go with the game. This is going to be released right before the game came out. so this was got a lot earlier than the game was. It's a really cool commercial, you should really check it out. I'll send a link to it. Did you know that Paul Rudd also plays in it? Paul Rudd's been in a lot of like funny movies. I guarantee you've like either seen or at least heard of like one of his movies. During the time of this commercial though, he was also working on a Michael Myers movie. It's funny to see him in the commercial after all this time. Cause like, we didn't really know who he was back then, but now like seeing all his funny movies, it's just hilarious. There was also an unused stage in Star Fox 2. If you went to the test settings and then go in Venom and then select step 6, you would enter a sort of neighborhood looking area. It had palm trees, it had a road, it had houses. It had more buildings, a few items on it. The hit detection was a little off, and even had a swimming pool. I always thought that was pretty crazy. But some stuff doesn't activate, and then other stuff doesn't like act right on here. But I suppose this was some sort of test stage. There's also another thing with the walker though. It seems that the walker was also used in Star Fox Zero. So I would assume they brought that back. In fact, the walker on Star Fox Zero looks nearly identical to the one on 2. It even fires about the same, although it got a lot of like overhauls and tweaks. But it still looks very vastly the same. I'm really glad they brought that back, because that was one of my favorite features in Star Fox 2. They brought back a lot more elements than just this game. Star Fox 64 also had battle sequences, much like Star Fox 2, where you had the battle against Starwolf. The paths branched off a little bit more than the first game, so I assume most of the elements they did add from Star Fox 2 in here would be the branching off in the battles. You would go to different planets depending on what your moves were. And what you did through your playthrough in battle, you'll find secret areas to go through more planets. Alright, so I got 2 unused audio files. I'm gonna let you listen.
What up?
He's saying what up, like what up dog? No, I'm just joking, but he's saying 1 up, so I'm guessing there was a stock you would have with many different lives. Because in the game it didn't really show the amount of stock you had, so I'd assume that would have been in it, but it wasn't done yet. Alright, now we got more or less the same thing, but in a female voice. Here, I'll let you listen.
1 up.
It was probably used for either Faye or Miyu, depending on who you chose during the battle. This is early text for the configuring on the early game of the build that you've seen previously in the video. The other images are from the other build of the beta. I'll show you those real soon. This is from the beta of it in the other build. This was the main menu, what it looked like earlier. It looks, other than all the background change and some of the text being changed, the options you have look pretty much the same. Alright, so here are the characters you would start out on. Now if you look at these, I noticed it was different. So you got Fox, Shaco, Pepe, Slippy, Suri, and Lady. Well, it took me a while to find both of the other ones, so I'll show you what I found. For Saru, I speculate that it's probably Saru Marine Captain, which is an enemy. It'd be kind of weird playing as an enemy, but that'd be pretty cool. He was in Star Fox 64 and ones after that. Lady was like the hardest one to find though, because it took me like so long, so I was like, well, what would it be? And like I had a hard time finding the character. But it's actually called Farrah Phoenix, and I believe it was in the comics. And the comics had 10 acts in it. So it took me a while to find that. There you go. I strongly believe it would have been this character who play it. Also in this build, it also had a battle mode in it. As you can see, we have battle ground 1, 2, we have space 1 and 2. Then we have marine, which is kind of weird because I did bring up submarine. So it could have been in space for like each character, maybe, I don't know. But it looks like we would have had like 5 different battle zones to fight in. Much like different battle zones you would use to fight in Star Fox 64. That was a lot of fun. Seeing this though makes me think that there would be a lot more stages. Like I feel like there would have been a lot more put into it, each stage on the terrain of area it had. So you see there's an A, B, to C to D. I don't know if that's like 2 more stages. I would say so because all these are space, the other ones are probably different terrains. So I think it would have had a lot of variety to it. There's also a point system I see there where you would have multiple different points of that you'd have at the end of the battle. I guess they would add up depending on your winnings. So here's the battle selection. Looks like you would have Fox, Falco, Peppy, Andross. It'd be pretty crazy playing as Andross. And then we have Farah, which is the character I found before that probably would have been used for the label of Slady. It's weird not seeing Miyu or Faye in here. They was probably made very late in development of the game and then added on. Here is what the battle sort of would have looked like depending on the selection you chose. You would have a radar and you would have a shield system used to fight each other. It even showed enemy count, so it kind of makes me think like would it be like sort of like who gets the most points first, or maybe that would have been the stock of lives. Little is known. Also, deep in the files of Star Fox 2, you could find the NES game Glider in it, which was kind of odd because that game was pretty old. Like it even predated the first Star Fox, so why would it be in the file of the second one? Not sure why this is in there. It's pretty random if you ask me. I wanted to get this video done before the game comes out on the SNES Classic, but just like the last Guardian, it kind of like wasn't cancelled anymore. It just came out of nowhere, but oh, never mind, it's not cancelled. It's a thing now. It's now a thing. And Nintendo announced it. It was like around the time I was going to make a video on it. So it was kind of odd it just came out of nowhere. I've seen this before in games. So what do you guys think of the SNES Classic? Do you think you'll buy it, or do you think you'll pass on it? It has 20 plus games and also has Star Fox 2 on there. First time it's ever going to be released. September 29th. So that's it for the video. I wonder what they'll have for the complete version of Star Fox 2 when they release it. What elements they'll have in it. I hope they bring back the versus mode. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Till then.